All right, on the show this morning, it's funny because I've been singing the Reading Rainbow theme song in my head all morning long. Levar Burton's on the phone. I am Levar. I'm doing it. I'm sorry. I'll admit it. I'm just saying, butterfly in the sky. Just all morning long, I've been doing that. It's such a catchy jingle. How you doing, man?
I'm well. You know what? Here's a little bit of trivia for you.
Okay, sure.
Do you know who the singer of the Reading Rainbow theme song is?
Oh, man.
Actually, there were two.
There were two?
There were two. The first one I wouldn't expect for you to know. The first one, a session singer from New York, wonderful, wonderful voice, Tina Fabrique.
Okay.
But in the 14th year of Reading Rainbow, we went in the studio and re-recorded the theme song with a new arrangement, new vocals, and that was done by my good friend Chaka Khan.
No kidding, Chaka Khan?
Yeah, man.
See, I didn't know that. That's cool, man. That's really cool.
Right.
I was proud that I knew that Cyndi Lauper did the Pee Wee Playhouse theme.
Well, see, that is again little-known children's show trivia.
Very cool. Now, I'm going to ask you about that. We're going to talk about the Jensen Project too, because we've got Patricia Richards on the show this week as well. But I want to talk about that in a second. But I want to go back a little bit to Reading Rainbow, which is such a still today people talk about that show. And now, was this? Are you passionate about children's programming?
I'm passionate about quality programming for the whole family.
Sure. Okay.
However, when the idea for Reading Rainbow was brought to my attention, I just thought it was such a great use of the medium of television.
Sure.
My mother was an English teacher, so you either read a book in my mother's house or you got hit in the head with one. She really didn't care which.
Right.
It was your choice. So the idea of taking a half an hour of television and steering children back in the direction of literature and the written word seemed like a real good idea at the time. And
sure.
Who knew? 26 years later, we were still on until last year, until 2009.
Now they took it off in 2009. What was it? New episodes, or it seems like a lot of reruns were being played too.
Yeah, over the 26 years, we only did like 150, 160 episodes of the show. So they were always... But see, Reading Rainbow originally was supposed to be a summer series. It wasn't designed to be on year-round. My co-executive producer and the creator of Reading Rainbow, Twyla Liggett, she was an ex-educator herself and wanted to address what teachers call the summer loss phenomenon. Mm-hmm. A child, when they're learning how to read, they take that 3-month summer vacation, they come back to school in September, and their reading and comprehension skills have plummeted. So the idea was to go to where the kids are, sitting in front of the tube in the summer, and then steer them back in the direction of good books. So it was originally just designed to be a summer series.
Yeah, and it's funny because Reading Rainbow was mentioned. We had Henry Winkler on a couple of weeks back, and he actually talked about that because he's an author of children's books as well. So
yes, he is.
And of course, being cast in Roots was just a huge landmark show, miniseries, a landmark, probably stepping stone in your career as well. I mean, this is something that
It was my first job. It was my first professional audition.
That was your first one? I didn't realize it was your very first one. To get a role like Kunta Kinte as your first one out, man, that's pretty cool. That's powerful stuff.
Yeah. My life has been really blessed. You will never hear me complain about my life.
No, and anybody who ends up as an action figure in my book, dude. Let's figure it. You're an action figure. How surreal is that? You're walking into a store, and Star Trek merchandise is smacking you in the face, and there you are as an action figure. How cool is that?
Yeah, it's actually, I gotta say, it doesn't suck.
No kidding, right? The question, I'm not a huge Star Trek guy. I like the Next Generation. I like the movies. I like the Star Trek show. I'm not like a Trekkie. I'm not one of these guys who's going to be following you around, with my tricorder and dressing up as you. That's cool. I mean, you got to love your fans for that stuff, but I'm not a super Trekkie. But I will say...
Oh, I do.
I will say I love the show. But I always wondered in the future, why is it that why is it that Geordi had to wear glasses? Why couldn't they just embed something in his eyes? You know what I mean?
Which a very legitimate question.
I mean, you got the robot, right?
I tell you, I asked myself the same question for every day for about 7 years.
Sure.
And of course the real answer is that the Geordi's visor was one of the ways that we really communicated to the audience the technological sophistication of the 24th century.
Sure.
And in the movies, it was really important to me to take the visor off, and that's when we went to the implant, as you suggested.
Right.
That was the fix, the ocular implant.
I always thought that was kind of funny, where you've got this fully working anatomical android and everything else, and yet this guy's got to wear a visor. So it's kind of funny, though. Are you into the sci-fi? Do you like being a sci-fi actor? Because obviously, all the years of Star Trek, and now with the Jensen Project, same kind of deal, like a science fiction kind of thing.
I'm a huge science fiction fan. I am. Yeah, I'll be really honest with you. I'm a real geek in that regard. When I was a kid, growing up, science fiction literature, and still today, I love science fiction literature and science fiction movies and entertainment, because for me, science fiction is the body of literature that really dares to ask us what I believe to be two of the most important words in combination in the English language. Those words being, what if? Right. Right? And so the link between science fiction and that which we create, I'm a firm believer that there was some young person who watched those original episodes of Star Trek, and saw Captain Kirk reach into that secret place behind his hip and pull out his communicator, flip it open, and call the ship. Right, exactly. That kid grew up, became maybe a scientist, probably an engineer, and helped develop technology that's more common today than the toaster. Raise your hand in the audience if you've ever used or seen a flipped cell phone. Exactly. Right? I saw. It's funny you should say that, Levar, because I was watching an older Star Trek, I don't know, a month or so ago, was flipping through the channels, and there was Captain Kirk and Leonard Nimoy as Spock, and they had this shiny metal disc that they had to put in the computer because it had data on it. Right. And I looked at it and said, that looks like a DVD. Right? So it's Hello.
It's so surreal at that.
The link between that which we focus our imagination on and that which we create is inextricable. It's just a part of the human genius. Sure. We dream it and then we do it. Sure. Right? Yeah. Hey, the minute I can get my own replicator, I'll be happy. I won't have to leave the house. You and me both, brother. No kidding. And I'm really eager to start beaming from place to place, if you know what I mean. Yeah, no kidding, right? I hear you. Yeah. So, Jensen Project, the idea behind this movie is that a bunch of super geniuses are kind of put together as like in a community, and their job is to kind of create things and give it to people, as opposed to trying to make money off from their genius, right? Yes. The Jensen Project is, in fact, a think tank. You're right. And their job is to take the unlimited funding that they have and apply themselves to the world's problems, and then leak those solutions into the world, taking no credit for themselves. Okay, so that's the key. That's the key I didn't understand, the leaking part. Yeah. They don't want credit. In fact, they don't even want people to know that they exist. Gotcha. Okay. But what they are committed to doing is making the world a better place through their brain power and their intellectual property. Now, do you think something like this could ever really exist in the real world? There are think tanks all over the world. Yeah. That we don't maybe know. They don't have unlimited funding, sure. but there are people. There are very smart people that gather together and do this kind of thing all the time. Sure. I don't know about the altruism part. Right. I think generally these think tanks are sponsored by major corporations, and they want that IP and they want to exploit it. But this is the concept for this show is actually based in reality. There are think tanks, and there are people who spend all of their time trying to solve problems. And what's your character like? What kind of a person is he? I am so excited at this stage in my career. I play a guy named Kendrick James, who, in addition to being one of these super geniuses, he's a doctor of photonic and acoustical engineering, which means he's a master of light and sound. Oh, cool. But he's also spent 10 years in the NSA doing black ops for the United States government. So he's also the chief of security for the Jensen Project. So at the age of 53, I get to play a badass with a brain. Nice. Right? Very cool. Yeah. Yeah.